This is Francois Tennessee with Royal Realty Group, brokered by EXP. The market's really crazy these days. You're going to need someone you can trust to help you with buying, selling, and finding investment properties. Feel free to give me a call, 214-704-4749, and also follow us on all social media platforms at Royal Realty Group TX. Now enjoy the show with Cuff and Mo.
What do we have to do to bring the NOLA out? The New Orleans, baby.
Start talking crawfish.
No, I'm allergic to seafood.
What?
Yeah. Can't mess with you never had, though.
Huh.
Yeah. I start talking shit about the Saints.
Okay.
That'll get me.
Okay.
That'll get it out of me.
Well, y'all got a quarterback today.
Yeah. It's an old friend, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Real good.
They re-signed James.
today.
2 years, 28 mil,
You say
21
new.
guaranteed.
God dang, that boy. Good for him. I'm glad he got the bag.
Yeah, I'm glad too.
You know.
We
but
always want that for us, right?
I want it for anybody.
Yeah,
but yeah,
of
of course for us too.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot out there. There's a lot of money out there. And a lot of people have this closed mindset where they think that, you know, I can only get X amount. And that's one of the things we want to, hopefully, you know, through these episodes and all the content that we've done, people realize that there's enough out there.
It
you know
is.
what I'm saying?
For everybody.
Yeah.
It's a schizophrenic season for Texas weather, right? Just wait 5 minutes. We see in the past couple of weeks we've had snow.
Yep.
Then it got hot.
Yep.
And now it's raining and tornado season. I mean, it's it is what it is. It's
20 to 80 in a day.
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
that's what it's been. They said 2 tornadoes touched down in Euless today as well.
Yeah, I don't doubt it.
I know one touchdown in Jacksboro. I mean, it's a hot mess.
So being from New Orleans,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Katrina,
Yes.
right? Were you there during Katrina, or
2
had you
years
already
ahead
left?
of time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's good. But I mean, y'all see a lot of, like, you know, hurricanes and
A lot of
obviously
hurricanes.
a shit ton of crazy weather. So
Yeah.
I mean, how does weather, you know, impact you from a mental perspective? Does it, you know, our people we're not moving. You know, everybody else will be up out of there.
We shut down.
Now I'm gonna sit there and don't let them be older. You know, they damn sure ain't leaving.
Well, that's a lot of what happened to Katrina.
Right.
Why there was so much death and loss, because that's the mindset. And then when you live in New Orleans, they always say a storm is coming. And you're like,
What's new?
yeah, we're going to lose some power. It's going to be good, right?
Everybody got generators.
Absolutely. Everybody got generators. We got candles. We got ice. We grills. You know, we're going to ride it out. And Katrina wasn't that. You know, it went through there and tore it up, unfortunately. Yeah. But I was here. I had been here 2 years, almost 2 years, a few months shy of 2 years. Ended up with all my family with me in my 1-bedroom apartment in Allen. So gracious enough to be living at a property that just had all of the grace for what was happening to my family. They moved me to a 2 or 3 bedroom unit at no cost, and it was one of those kinds of things. So in those moments, you learn that humanity is real, and that love doesn't see color or where we come from or where we've been. Love is love, and it's help and it's assistance. So that's what I learned from that experience.
Yo, say that.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, we live in a time, obviously the war, or is it a war now, or is it a conflict?
I mean, depending on what side of the fence you come on, I think people in Ukraine would say
it's a war.
It's
a war.
For sure.
The people in Russia call it a military exercise.
Right. Well, it's crazy times, right? And so when you look up and you to me, I mean, like, having that empathetic heart and sympathy and care for other people is certainly something that's lacking in you know, across all cultures. And, you know, obviously we reside here in the U.S. and, you know, no hating on the U.S. It's a great country.
Of course.
But I mean, like, when you talk about experiences like that, I mean, it shows that love is real and people do care. I mean,
It is.
So, I mean, what was that like knowing that still exists?
Yeah, well, for me, it always exists. You know, it's the way I was raised. It's all I know. It's all I ever want to be. And I think in this life, you attract what you are, right? So if
Say it again for the people in the back.
In this life, you attract what you are. So if good is what you are and good is what you want to be, good is what you'll receive. And so for me, it was a reflection of me and my family.
There it is.
And that's what I learned about it. It came from some unusual places. I'm talking about my employer. I was working at Baylor Healthcare Facility at Baylor. And teammates, I mean, everyday gift cards, clothes. I mean, every day, literally, my brother and my father would come down helping me get stuff. It's just humanity and kindness like I had never seen, right?
That's beautiful.
And it wasn't a handout, it was a hand up for my family, for sure. And I was glad to be here to help them.
Well, we're certainly glad that you were already safe and that you had a place of refuge for those that needed that at that time. Welcome back to another great episode of the TheVisionLab podcast in partnership with Nexum Creative. I'm your host, Ryan Cuffey, alongside with my co-host, Mr. Ryan Mosley. The TheVisionLab is the official growth mindset to all visionaries worldwide, showing mad love to the cigar community. It's here in the lab where we uncover people's visions and dreams and how those dreams actually get into reality. Folks, it's all about tapping into and becoming the absolute best versions of ourselves through self-discovery, self-examination, and self-actualization. Yo, Mo, we are in the lab. It's about to go down. Who do we have on the show today, my man?
First of all, we just have to say thank you to our good friend Clarence Carter for the introduction to today's guest.
What up, CC?
C squared, as I call him.
Absolutely. Today's guest, as you've heard, is a native of New Orleans, Louisiana. She is the designer, CEO, creator, all of the above of this beautiful product. The name of her company is the Prolific Watch Company. Is that correct?
That's right.
Prolific Watch Company. Please welcome Tiffany Weaver to the TheVisionLab podcast.
Hey.
What up? What up? What up?
What it do? What it do?
Hey, and a good morning to everybody that's tuning in. Hope you guys are having a wonderful Tuesday. Let's get right on into it. So you got this beautiful piece. Mo, hold that up.
Oh, absolutely. Get a camera shot here. Here you go.
Yeah.
Courtesy of the owner and creator. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
You're very welcome.
So,
I appreciate y'all having me.
Got to start with the name.
Yeah.
Prolific.
Yes.
What's that mean? Why that name? All the good stuff behind it.
So the word prolific, it means abundant in invention and productivity. And when you think about that word and the reason that I started the business, it all ties, right? So I started the business at the very kind of beginning of COVID, like late spring, early summer, 2020. Since I've been a kid, I've always loved watches.
Preach.
I mean, Swatch watches. You remember Max Headroom, all the things. I used to always want watches. My mama, dang, how many watches you need? I love them, right? And so 2020 is happening. George Floyd gets killed. It's a lot of pain going on. It's a lot of hate. You know, that kind of thing brings out anger, hate, resentment, right? Everything is fueled. I had a beaded bracelet business. I used to make beaded bracelets, and I used to buy other people's watches to pair with my bracelets to sell them in sets.
Okay.
So I'm sitting there and I'm watching the news. I'm buying these watches from other people, and I start studying what does it take to design and manufacture my own watches.
Yeah, right.
And then if I'm going to do this, what will be the purpose? And the purpose was to highlight Black excellence.
Okay.
I want to show Black culture, Black people in a positive light.
Amen.
And when you tie that word prolific into it, abundant and inventiveness and productivity, that's what our culture has been to America as a whole, right? And so I said, I'm going to design watches and I'm going to dedicate every one of them to a pioneer of Black excellence. Every watch I design will be inspired by someone that inspires me, that has progressed our culture, hence Prolific Watch Company.
Love it.
Now I got to ask then, who is the inspiration behind this beautiful piece?
Big Al Sharpton.
Okay.
Oh, come on now.
Okay.
Come on now.
Big Al ain't big no more, though.
No, Big Al ain't big no more. Big Al will always be big.
Yeah, he will.
But he not like Big Luther big.
Nah, he will. Yeah. Well, Luther wasn't even Big Luther big before,
He wasn't, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So how many different faces or lines of product that you have, and we're familiar with the website, and you've got a lot of beautiful offerings, and we'll make sure that we put the link up, within this episode, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely.
But how many different, I guess it's faces that do you have, or models, if you will?
15.
Oh, wow.
I have 15. So some of them are the same style of watch, different colorway, honors a different honoree, but 10 men's watches, 5 women's watches. Of course, some of the ladies rock the big faces too. So unisex in any way if you like a big face.
Okay.
Also vegan leather backpacks, sunglasses, some bracelets as well.
Okay, back up.
Yeah.
Vegan
leather.
Please explain
now,
what vegan leather is.
Vegan leather,
Are we vegan, like eating vegan, or?
I'm not. I cook vegan. My lady is vegan.
Okay.
But I'm not vegan by any stretch of the imagination. Vegan leather, you didn't kill an animal. It's a synthetic material.
Okay.
It mirrors leather consistency, but it won't tear, it won't rip, it won't get the wear or the cracking. So it's very durable.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's like the Impossible Burger of leather.
Yeah, I like that. It's the Impossible, the Beyond Burger.
Beyond.
The Boca Burger of leather.
Yeah.
The Boca Burger.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what it is. And so the vegan leather backpacks also have a USB port. Yeah,
Okay.
right. So you get a complimentary charging block. The charging block, you keep charged. You keep it charged inside the bag, and then your phone plugs into the outside. So it's dope. It's a good travel bag. They look good. They're dope. Check it out.
We gotta definitely check that out.
Yeah.
I want to rewind a little bit. I mean,
Sure.
you seem to have this entrepreneurial spirit and mindset,
Mm-hmm.
since you were a child, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Creating bracelets, and then eventually
Yeah.
going into watches.
Yeah.
What do you think that came from, and what do you think? It's a 2-part question. Where do you think it came from,
Mm-hmm.
and then what do people need to have to start their own thing?
Yeah. So I was a latchkey kid. My parents, funny story, were married 20 years, divorced when I was 9, reconnected when I was 22.
Oh.
So they were married 20 years, divorced 14. They've been back together about 20.
Okay.
So when you're a latchkey kid, you're home alone. I had the kind of mom that if she couldn't bring me or pick me up, I couldn't go. So she brought everything that I needed into the house. So if that's coloring, creating, I learned how to cut hair. It's just a lot of alone time.
By the way, your fade is hitting.
I appreciate it, brother. I do. I take pride in that. That's a signature for me. But so I think creativity came from me being my own best friend. And my mom feeling like I was safer at home when she was working 2 jobs. My mom literally went to work 6 in the morning to 11 at night.
Wow.
So you got a lot of alone time, right? And you figure things out, a lot of dexterity, learn to fix things. Can't be scared of the dark. If something breaks, you better figure it out, right? So I think that's where a lot of the creativity came from. Just channeling being alone into things that I enjoy doing, if you will. The second question was?
What do people that are aspiring entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
what's one nugget that they need? What's one thing that they need, or what's one nugget that you can give them?
Don't be afraid to fail.
Hear it all the time.
Oh, all the time.
Hear it all the time.
Don't be afraid to fail, and understand that your idea is a good idea. It does not matter who else did it, or there is enough
Right.
for all of us, right? And I think so many times we don't know how to get started, so we don't.
Paralysis by analysis.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. I think
it's crazy because we've been doing this for so long, and you hear a common theme, which is go. Don't be afraid to fail.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's crazy. It's almost like we're having to rewire our thinking.
Yeah.
In terms of failing is bad.
You have to, and I'm sure you'll agree, based on what you told us so far in the first part of this interview, you've got to get to a space mentally. Like, it starts mentally. You got to get to a space mentally where, like you said, just take the first step. Like, you got to have some type of seminal moment where you're like, okay, today I'm going to go.
Yeah.
Like, we always try to have everything perfectly mapped out. Man, unless you hit a lottery ticket, there is no such thing as the 100% perfect plan.
That's right.
We've had to learn. Sometimes you just got to build a car on the way down the freeway.
Yeah.
Like,
no, it's fact.
We've had to learn it the hard way. Like,
Yeah.
when we started this, like, there was no roadmap. Nobody reached out to us and said, hey, here's exactly how you guys need to do this. Like, this is literally me and him countless late nights in regards to, okay, poke holes in our own stuff.
Yeah.
And let's keep going back to the drawing board.
Absolutely. And I think that's the other thing that you said. I think support. You said me and him. I think you have to have people in your tribe, right? Your tribe is your vibe. I think you have to have people that speak life into what's important to you.
Yes.
And that can come from anywhere. That could be a mentor, a spouse, a brother, a sister, a homie. It does not matter. I think support and understanding that failure isn't real, right? It's just an opportunity to get better.
Yeah.
What's a lesson? Right?
It is. This is exactly where I was going.
It's a lesson.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think it was Einstein that said something to the effect of, you know, I didn't fail 10,000 times. It just took 10,000 times to figure out the right way to do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean? Or whatever the number was. But yeah, I think we really need to rewire our thinking, right? I mean, failure is not a bad thing. And I think it starts from, you know, school, you know, either you passed or you failed. But like, well, how much learning did you have? How much growth took place from, you know, the time you didn't know whatever information until the time that you do?
Well, the learning is in, I don't believe in the word failure, right? But the learning is in the lessons. Like, you and I talk about all the time. Like, it's good to get a win. Don't get me wrong. We all love wins, but you get better and you develop in those times of stress and adversity, or what some people call failures. Like, if you really take a step back and do a real self-inventory or self-examination of, okay, let me take a step back and look at myself, have a real honest conversation with yourself in the mirror, and then you can learn and grow from there. Versus, you win all the time, like, you kind of get this false sense of reality.
Facts.
And it's not like that when you're trying to build something from the ground up. When you
no,
really got your hands in the dirt.
That's right.
You got to get comfortable. You got to get comfortable with taking some hits. Like, I'm living this every single day as we speak. And so you've got to get comfortable taking some hits, because ultimately they're going to make you better on the back end.
Yeah.
You just need to wrap your mind around the fact that, like, this might not be the perfect recipe the first time out, but you got to have it somewhere and you're like, I'm going to keep pushing them and keep going.
It's funny because I know people that want the win, right? Because that's all they've ever been accustomed or used to is winning. But the moment that you experience defeat or you got to get it out the mud, you don't have the mechanisms to do that. And so, starting the business and during the COVID, right, 2020, I'm sure you've experienced trials, tribulations, getting it off the ground.
Sure.
Talk about that experience and like Mo was talking about, like what you learned.
Yeah. If I can loop back around to something about, we talk about fear and failure. Mm-hmm. We are raised to be careful. When you're a kid, stop running. You're going to fall.
Don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that, right? Don't do that. Don't run. You're going to fall. Hey, don't go out at night. It's not safe. We are taught to be hyper vigilant about harm. Mm-hmm. And not to say that that's wrong. Of course, we have to be aware. I think an awareness and fear are kind of two different things. Sure. But sometimes when things are brought into our mind, it turns it into a fear of things, right? And so just to loop back around, it's a lesson.
Well, I want to stay there for a second.
Sure.
Let's hone in on that. And not making you the poster child for this.
Sure.
But because we have two young kids. His is 3, mine's 2.5, right?
Sure.
She's 3, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm knocking on the door for.
Yeah.
And doesn't have to be from a parental perspective.
Sure.
But how should we, or what is a better way to go about that so that we're not impressing upon our kids the idea of failure and that failure is wrong?
Yeah, I think in that case, right, I think you can say, okay, you run, but understand that you can fall.
There it is.
And you may hurt yourself, but you will get up and you will heal.
So my oldest,
I think that's the truth.
My oldest is 12, right? And I was pretty avid about this when she was younger. I need you to understand that here's your decision, mm-hmm. and you're going to have, based off of your decision, you're going to have consequences, positive or negative. So I was starting to train her mindset and thinking that regardless of whatever I do, there's going to be outcome A or outcome B or consequence A, consequence B. And so I love that approach and you know what you were just saying.
Because it's true. You could take off running and never fall and make it as far as you can imagine.
Right.
Or you can take off running and fall in the first couple of steps, but you will get up.
That's right.
And you will live on and you will run again.
Love it.
And I think that's the truth that we need to tell our kids.
The cool part about all this is, right, you're right. You could take off running, you might never fall. Take off running, 10 steps, you might hit the deck. but you'll never know if you only start actually
That's
start
That's
running.
right.
That's
Yep.
right.
If you stand still, you'll never know.
You'll never know.
So
Yep.
it's spring 2020-ish,
Yep.
shortly after the murder of George Floyd happened. Let's go back then and let's talk about, the experiences on getting the brand, the products in motion.
Sure.
Like, what did that whole process look like, especially starting from ground zero?
Right. So, ground zero, I know nothing about forming a business. The first thing is connecting with someone who does. What do you need? Well, you need an LLC and you have to get trademarked and this is what you need. And you have to do that. And you have to set up your franchise tax license and all these things that well above my head. I deal with.
They don't teach us in school.
No, I deal with that working for someone else and it's in place when I get
That's
there.
right.
But when it's yours, you have to do it yourself. So connecting with, sources for that stuff. And then what do I want to represent? Exactly, because obviously it's a business and the investment into what you produce is what you will see. And what is it going to cost me, to design these things? What do I want them to look like? And then finding manufacturers that make it happen. And then in a supply chain shortage, right?
Oh, man.
COVID has
Changed
shaken
everything.
up the supply chain market, dude. It's crazy.
Yeah.
You go to the grocery stores, prices are high because stock is out. Supply and demand, it's the law. Well, it's the same, in
your
any
product's
business.
sitting out there in the Pacific Ocean.
That's exactly right. And when you're dealing with manufacturers that may not be in the United States, then there's planning time.
Okay.
How long will it take this stuff to get here? When do I roll out the site? When do I start to say this will get here? Because it is not really in concrete that it will make it, right? And then I certainly don't want to say it's going to be here and it's not.
Right.
So then a lot of delays, a lot of frustration about timing. My lady would tell you, I was like, man, I wanted to be here. I wanted to be right. What if I roll out the site? And she's always a voice. Well, you can set things up on pre-order, honey. There are ways that you can think through this. Don't let it daunt you. You just work through it. So I would mainly say just figuring out business structure for myself, right? Not having that in place already. Making sure I'm surrounded by people that can talk me through things that I'm literally ignorant to, right? And understanding supply chain shortages, finding partners, finding someone to set up a website. Man, I had 3 web designers before I got it right. You will lose money, when you're setting up things. Well, I won't say you won't lose it. I'll say you will invest it and then you'll have to try again.
Right.
Because none of it was a loss. It was all a lesson. And I learned how to make it better, every step of the way. So just, again, that tribe, finding people that can support, that can educate, and then believing that all will be well no matter what might go wrong. That's it.
I was going to ask it later on, but I can't help it because we're in the moment. We're
Sure,
talking about
sure.
it. What's one of the hardest lessons you learned getting all this off the ground? Because I'm a big fan of, he'll tell you, I'm a big fan of, quote unquote, getting out the mud, like 10 toes down, like throwing everything I got into an idea. So, and like I said, we've had to learn lessons along the way. What's one of the hardest ones you've learned?
I started off this business thinking that it was going to be for guys. Because I masculine presenting lesbian, right? So I like guy swag. And I forgot totally that women are mainly the people that shop. So, no, literally, for real. So I start this business and you get all of these analytics, right? People tell me, well, you got to go check your site, see who's visiting, and go to IG, check your ads. You got to know your demographics. You got to know who's following you. And I'm making all these dude watches, but my following was 51% female. And I never considered that. So I was missing out on a market.
A huge market share.
The majority, right? Yeah. So then I have to pivot. And I have to start, getting the ideas of women that I love. Like, what do y'all like? Like, what does this need to look like? Do you like this? Do you like that? And getting input and trusting it.
Trust.
So that sounds like a big word.
Somebody could tell you whatever they want. If you don't trust it, it does not matter, right?
Oh, okay.
And so I had to pivot. I had to change my site. I had to change some of the models. I had to, include more female models, find them, design female watches, get input, build a whole new website, change how I promoted. Like everything had to pivot, but thank goodness I did it within 6 months. You know, I didn't wait a long time, but
stubborn.
It was an investment that I did not see coming.
How much do you think new entrepreneurs are so stuck on their original idea and are not willing to pivot or listen to what the market says? You know, if you would have continued down that path, right?
Yeah, sure.
49% of your audience is males, but 51% is females.
Yeah.
You ignore that glaring statistic and you want to be stubborn and stick with, no, I only do, designer men's watches. I mean, how often do you see, or are you aware of, like, how stubborn people can be, or maybe better yet, coaching people not to be stubborn and listen to what the market's dictating?
Yeah, well, you have to realize that retail is pretty much a service, business. And if you're not listening to who you're servicing, then you won't grow. And I think you realize that you glean from other people.
Absolutely.
Right. And if nobody's buying the product, then there's something wrong with the product or the way you're marketing it, or you're not marketing it to the right people. So if you're unwilling to change, you're unwilling to grow your business and ultimately fulfill your dream.
Yeah. And speaking of businesses, Mo, we got to give a major shout out to EB. Y'all check out this commercial with Edwina Brown and Blowing Smoke Cigar Lounge.
Hey everyone, Edwina Brown here, owner operator of Blowing Smoke Cigar Lounge. We're located at 1604 North Interstate 35E in Lancaster, Texas. We would love for you to come see us. We stand on the 3 C's, which are cigars, our community, and our culture. Cigars, we have over 300 SKUs in our humidor and it's still growing. Come check it out, a massive humidor. We also love our culture here, which we're about customer service, as well as community, which is why we're excited to partner with the TheVisionLab podcast. So come check us out.
All right, so we've talked about pivoting. We talked about you jumping into something that was completely foreign and unknown. We talked about fear. We've had a lot of good dialogue and conversation. Obviously support, and a big shout out to EB for, being a day one.
Literally
for
a day
us.
one for us.
You know what I mean?
That's love.
Where do you want to take this?
I want to take this to a place where I have highlighted so many positive influencers that I have become a positive influencer as one of the ones that I am honoring, and I'm showing the way for others to come behind me.
Each one teach one.
Each one teach one. That's where I want to take it. I want to be known for the legacy of, again, not a handout, a hand up. I want to be known for all love. I want to be known for service. I want to be known for excellence. I want people to say, T helped me with that. Wow. T showed me the way. That's what it's about for me.
I want to get into the actual product here.
Yeah.
So this is the
Big Al.
Big Al. Yeah.
Talk to our visionaries about that. That's a beautiful piece, by the way.
Thank you. So Big Al, if you look at this is timeless, right?
Right.
Brown leather will never get old, right? Gold will never get old. Yeah. And so Al has been around. He's generational. I think even kids in elementary school know who Al Sharpton is. He's always on the news. He's always advocating. He's always speaking. And that's been that way my entire life. I'll be 43 in a couple of weeks, and I've known of Al Sharpton, and he's still as prevalent today as he was then. And so I wanted to create a timeless piece. The gold, the brown, it's just the classic man. It's very strong. It'll never get old. And I think you can do anything with it. And I think the contributions that Al has made to the world, they'll never get old. They'll always have impact. And I wanted to have a timeless combination.
So you've got one on as well.
I do.
Let's talk about that one too.
Yeah, so the one I got on, I'll take it off so you can check it out. This one was my honor to cap.
Okay.
The name of it is Crusader.
This is fire.
Thank you.
That one's too.
Yeah, I appreciate it. So the name of that one is Crusader. Colin Kaepernick is what some would call a black sheep or a black knight. It depends on however you want to view him, whatever your view is, right? I think he's black excellence. I think he's fearless. I think sometimes you have to be fearless and be willing to stand for the thing that's unpopular. So here it's just black. It's strong, but it has the rose gold. It highlights, you know, the regality of being a king. I think he's a king. I think kings run into trouble. They run into adversity, but they stand strong. Yeah, absolutely, right? So this one reminded me of that. When I designed it and put the colors together, it reminded me of blackness, of strength, of regality, of, you know, him and the kingdom that I believe he is. The name of this one is The Crusader.
I love that.
Thank you.
So obviously you have 15 or 13 other faces.
I do.
Right. Mm-hmm. Where does a source of inspiration, where is it drawn from? I mean, we've got Cap, we've got Big Al. Like, is it what's going on in the media? Is like, where
how
do
does
you
it
draw
come to
that
you?
from?
I think is the question.
Yeah, and I think it differs. Like my last 2 watches that I designed for ladies, my lady and I watched King Richard,
okay,
Venus and Serena.
Yeah.
I'm like, my goodness, the name of those watches are the Prodigy and the Protege. Venus was considered a prodigy. Mm-hmm. Serena was considered her protege. Serena ended up surpassing Venus because she had to beat the best to be the best, right? So that came to me in spring of last year, so I started designing. It came to me in spring. Tennis is a springtime sport. You know, the bands are springish. They're purple. They're pink. The face is marble. You know, it's just a very
a little bit lighter.
Yeah, lighter,
but still
springish, classy,
right,
feminine, but also sporty.
Right.
You know, if you got on sneakers, you could rock it. If you got on a business suit, you could rock it. That's where that came from. Kaepernick, the inspiration behind the Cap watch was the workout he refused to do. Okay. All right.
Yeah. That was funny.
Yeah, it was, right?
Chose not to participate in the circus.
We'll be over here.
Yeah.
We're going to be over here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You know, so you can come here, but you're going to sign a waiver to say that if you don't get a job, you won't sue us. Cap said no deal, right?
Yeah.
I'm good. I will continue this to manage my way. That's strange to me because a lot of people would have said, yeah, I'm showing up. This is a good opportunity.
Plus, you're going to get the bag.
Yeah, get the bag, right? And what he proved to us is his integrity is not for sale. And I have all the respect in the world for that. That's what inspired that. The Big L was inspired by seeing him at the George Floyd trials and, you know, so forth and so on. I can go on all day. The matriarch, timepiece, Cicely Tyson. It honors Cicely Tyson.
Okay, now.
Whenever you hear people talk about Cicely Tyson, people in show business, they always say she was like our mama. Mm-hmm. She was always kind of had a word for you, some wisdom for you, some guidance from you. She always mothered a lot of people in that business, and they would say she never was not real or kind or maternal, if you will. So that's the matriarch. That's why that's named that way. Yeah, that watch is black and rose gold, very regal, very classy. The Tuskegee Rose, Rosa Parks. It's all rose, beautiful, delicate timepiece for women. She was from Tuskegee, Alabama. The Tuskegee Rose. That came to me a Black History Month old. Obviously, Rosa Parks always gets discussed. The Goodman, Eugene Goodman, the Capitol officer.
Okay.
That kind of kept everyone safe at the insurrection. Obviously, he's a big deal to me.
Well, you know, some people call that just a rally. They don't believe it was an insurrection, you know.
Of course. I'm gonna call it what it is. Now, what they want to think of it is what they want to think of it. But he inspired that watch. As a matter of fact, he reached out to me.
Wow.
He saw it. He saw an ad, or a hashtag or something that, you know, my marketing company through an ad created, or something I created. He saw it, reached out to me, told me he has never been more honored in his life to be considered Black excellence for doing his job, right? And so that's what it's about for me. Yeah. You know, these people need to know that they're important, and that their work is not done in vain.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
So all inspirations, I could go through all of them. It's a lot of them, but just a few.
Well, I'll tell you what, this is a great opportunity.
Sure.
How can our visionaries And those are the people that watch our show. By the way, if you like the episode this far, go ahead and hit that like button and make sure you subscribe to the Vision Lab podcast. But how can our visionaries get a hold of you? How can they find and support the product? What's the website? All that good stuff.
Yep. The website is www.prolificwatchcompany.com. IG is Prolific Watch Company. Facebook is Prolific Watch Company. If you want to email us, it is info@prolificwatchcompany.com.
And the $1 million question everybody wants to know is what, price range, price points, how economical is this? I mean, we're in a, in a recession, inflation's up.
Yeah,
like, what's going on?
absolutely. Now, this is affordable luxury. Okay. I want everyone to be able to put a timepiece on their wrist that is a luxury product, but it's affordable for the masses. So the most expensive watch on our site is $145. The least expensive is $115. Vegan leather backpacks range from $125 to $140. We have some actual luxury sunglasses as well, $30 to $40 depending on what style. So affordable luxury, that's the goal.
So this is the Vision Lab, and I gotta ask, right? It's a two-part question.
Yes.
What was your original vision when you decided, okay, Tiff, you're gonna do this? Like, you're gonna start really designing watches and really put them on the marketplace. Like, what was your original vision when you started, and has it changed or been altered now that you're in the throes of it?
Yeah, my original vision when it started is to have dope watches and to honor excellence. Now my vision is to have dope watches and honor excellence and teach other people the way. That's what it is. And to take it as far as it can go, to partner with other businesses, right? So collaborate with other businesses. Just like here recently, I've been doing a lot of pop-up shops, right?
We've been seeing it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I meet so many people. I met a sister at a pop-up shop a couple of weeks ago. Amazing candle maker. I mean, will shut Bath and Body Works out of business. Amazing. And I have been a Bath and Body Works candle lover for years. And when we were in conversation, it was some things she didn't know. She didn't understand about having pixels on her site to track customers and
Talking
analytics.
Now.
Yeah. You understand? Yeah. And she didn't understand pixels. She didn't understand analytics. She didn't understand how to create. This is who you're targeting, but this is who is following you and how to make them all make sense. She didn't understand what cookies meant, on her site. She doesn't have a photographer. She takes her own pictures. And so what I learned from this is, while I learn, I also teach. And if I can help someone be better, then that's what it's about.
We teach as we climb, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's something that not enough of us do, or at least it's not promoted widely, right? Not that it has to be, but I respect you so much because it's organic, it's authentic, it's real. This isn't fluff. This isn't bullshit. Like, I can tell this is within your spirit.
Sure.
And I absolutely love the energy that you're giving off. And I'm in this space now where we've talked about protecting energy and things like that, but we never really talk about like giving off that energy, and that's what you're doing. I think a lot of times people do that a lot. They talk about, oh, I got to protect my peace, protect my energy. That's cool. Do your thing. But what are you giving?
Yeah.
Because what you said earlier in the podcast was, what you're giving, you're receiving.
Yeah. Whatever you're getting back, it's your mirror.
Ooh, say it again.
Whatever you're getting back, it's your mirror.
So to really expand on that, because you said, we are conscious of protecting our energy, but I think what happened is, y'all can disagree if you want, we do get so caught up and so conscious of protecting our energy to make sure that we don't allow energy vampires in our circles, if you will, that you fall into the trap of not sharing the good stuff that's been afforded to you. Yeah. And so there is a balance, right? It's a discernment, I think is the word, right? You kind of got to be conscious of who you do share your energy or your information or your ideas with, because sad but true, everyone ain't worthy. Sure. Everybody can't really handle it. Like, you got to really be conscious about, like, okay, I'm sitting on a diamond, or you're at a gym. Like, I can't just open the door for just anybody. Yeah. So yes, you had to protect your energy, but you also had to be conscious and be having an ability to observe, like, oh, I'm in the presence, or I'm working with somebody who can understand what I'm sitting on. I can share this information, or I can give them a little game or whatnot. And so, to his point, we appreciate you doing this, right? Like, I mean, this is the first time we've actually met in person. We've had some phone conversations.
Yeah, of course.
And it's really refreshing to sit down with somebody who kind of understands it the way we do.
Yeah. I think, first of all, thank y'all for having me,
No,
right?
thank you.
So anytime I get to sit down, hear what you guys are doing, which is uplifting people like me and giving an opportunity to talk about my dream, it's only an honor to show up and be able to do that. And I think what I want to say about energy and discernment and making sure that we're letting out and not taking in, even sometimes you will come across something that seems like it's not an energy match. It's still a mirror for something you need to handle within you, right?
That's so interesting, and I want to double down on what you were saying, and it also piggyback on what you're saying. It's very interesting the way that God talks and moves through you and towards you, right? So this weekend, we're out. A good friend of mine had a bachelor party. We're hanging out, and I was approached, or the commentary towards me was like, "Hey, you're really intense." And a lot of times, I think you have to be able to take a self-inventory of who you are.
Sure.
And so when the comment was made to me, I really just was like, wow, because I'm so intentional. Like, that is my word for 2022, right? Be intentional.
Yeah.
But we got things to do. That's what
right.
it is.
And
we
that's
ain't wasting
exactly
time.
right. Like,
Sure.
I'm trying to get to a specific point, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I also need to look in the mirror and say and see. And I talked about this maybe 2 or 3 months ago. Like, we had a family night, played games and all this other stuff, and you have to understand what people see. It may, the reflection of what, or excuse me, not the reflection, but what you're giving out may not be what you're trying to portray.
Yes, absolutely right.
And being intentional is fantastic, but it's a life lesson for me that says you can still get to the same result and your goal, but I may have to be a little bit more softer in my approach. So that's something that I'm constantly working on. You know what I mean?
That's true, right?
Yeah,
and
but
so
it's big.
It is, right? So that mirror work.
100%.
You could have reached out to me and say, "Yo, T, I really need you to get on this show," and I could have been like, "Well, what you want with me? Why? Like, where you know me from?" And you know what that would have done? Yeah. That my insecurities would have projected as I wasn't interested, right? And so then, if you're intentional about understanding how you come across, you would sit back as a present person and say, well, let me go back and make sure, how did I reach out? What was my communication? What could I have done to make her feel that way? And maybe the answer was nothing, but if you want to know and you want to grow, you would go back and kind of retrace those steps. So that's strong work, brother. You know.
And I appreciate it. Thank you. Because life is a journey, right?
It is.
And I think a lot of times, you're 43, I'm 40, or about to be 43.
Yes.
Sorry. I think a lot of times you look at yourself thinking that other people expect more from you, when really you're doing your thing, he's doing his, I'm doing my, like the people in the audience are doing their thing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really think people have enough time to give a shit about what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
But you're coming across in a particular fashion that you may not want to. And so it is important for you to recognize who you are and grow. I mean, this is a growth mindset podcast, and I want to be on wax and say, look, I got growing to do too. Like, just because we do this every week and have phenomenal guests like yourself that share a lot of information, a lot of insight and behind the scenes information, doesn't mean that we have it figured out.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, we're all a work in progress, and relish in that fact, right? Like, continue to self-evaluate and do some self-inventory.
Give yourself the same grace you give others.
Facts.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
So, I am my harshest critic, and you said give yourself the same grace you give others.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's a balance to it, all right? Like, he and I have some things that we are dead set on getting accomplished in 2022. So, while yes, I believe there is a certain level of grace we need to afford ourselves as individuals, there's also this part of me that is 1,000 miles an hour in the absolute direction I'm trying to get to.
Yes.
So, when you have somebody like me, you know, I'm full blown Pisces, can't sit still, don't sleep much. How do you balance that, right? Like, I mean, you know, you're a business owner. Like, you wake up every day like, okay, this needs to get done today or within the next 24, 36 hours or whatnot.
Sure.
If something happens to not get accomplished in the time frame you're looking to get it done, how do you balance that within yourself internally? How do you say, okay, Tiff, like, you wanted to get this done today, you know, hey, you want to get this done by Tuesday at 12. What happens if you don't get it done until Wednesday morning at 8 a.m.? Like, how do you balance that with yourself to where, like, you hold yourself accountable, but you don't beat yourself up about it?
It means that I had more time to get it right.
But you didn't start thinking like that, right?
No.
Like, that was a growth or maturation process that got you to that point.
Yes, it was. So while starting this business, also going through a divorce, right? So a lot of pain, but a lot of gain happening at the same time. And going through a divorce is strenuous. Also, starting a business is strenuous. And if you get into the stress of it all, you're not being present in the accomplishment and the joy of it all.
Speak.
Okay. And so, yeah, divorce is painful, but peace is beautiful. Right? Yeah, starting a business is stressful, but entrepreneurship is legacy. It's an honor, right? And so I think if we get so caught up into the stress of things or the pressure of things that you miss things that happen along the way that you should have been celebrating. We don't celebrate ourselves and what we do enough. So what did you do the day before? What did you accomplish the day before that maybe had you a day late? Be thankful that you got that done and that it gave you another day to get the next thing done. That's what I would say.
It's so surreal that we're in this moment and you're talking about being present.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And we've heard it before, and people that are tuning in, whether it's on, you know, listening through headphones or watching us on YouTube, you've heard this before, right?
Sure.
Again, this weekend, I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, I can't do anything about what's happened in the past. I don't know what's going to happen in the future.
Nope.
But I can control everything right here and right now.
Yep.
I just had this conversation with someone 3-4 hours ago. It's so, just timing is everything on this.
It's divine.
It's divine, for sure.
It's divine. That's what it is.
I gotta like really wrap my head around that concept because, you know, stuff I'm working on, and I have a mindset of like the things that I've laid out for myself for 2022. I literally try to take 1 or 2 steps towards those goals every single day. You know, hey, we're human. Some days we just fall short. Some days you look up and be like, man, this was a terrible day. What I thought I was going to get done, like, didn't even come close, right?
Sure.
And so what you said in regards to like celebrate what you have accomplished, that just registered with me because I look back at like the things I have gotten done. Just, I mean, we're about to hit April.
Yeah.
And the things that I've gotten done just from January through March is like, whoa, you've made some gigantic gains in what you're trying to get done. But again, the part of me who is like dead set, 1,000 miles an hour directed towards one goal, I struggle with that personally, right? I struggle with it every single day. Like my wife tells me, like to sit down somewhere sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's a struggle because I know what I'm trying to get done, and I know that like it didn't happen overnight. But when I've set certain milestones or certain benchmarks I'm trying to hit, and whether I hit it, you know, a day later or a week later or whatnot, that's the part I struggle with sometimes.
Yeah, you're a goal digger. GOAL digger.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah,
I like that.
That's what it is.
That's the title right there.
Yeah, that's what it is.
So check this out. You know, I'm on my weight loss journey, right? Currently down about 46 pounds.
Congratulations.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Because I'm in this space, both physically and mentally, I truly hear and understand what you're saying. So I liken everything to like a weight loss journey, meaning that you didn't get here overnight. You're not going to get where you want to go overnight, right? So break it down, right? We know that it's a process. You know that if you started at X and you want to end at Z, you know, you got to get to Y, so on and so forth, right? So the way I do it, or the way I like understand it mentally, is that I know I got to eat better, right? Can't have McDonald's, Jack in the Box, Whataburger, whatever, right? Got to eliminate that. Okay, there's your discipline, there's your sacrifice to get rid of that. I know that I've got to work out, right? So I set up a schedule. I follow the schedule. And then I know that over time, you can't keep doing the same thing and expect a different result. We all know that's the definition of insanity. So week 1, 2, 3, I may do X, right? And then I'm gonna elevate that because I should have mastered that by whatever deadline I've set, right?
Sure.
And then you look up, it's a month. Okay, you're down 20 pounds, or I've completed this many tasks, right? And that's where we get back to celebrating those moments. So I treat myself, and then you got to get right back on it and say, you know what? 2 or 3 weeks later, I didn't hit that goal. I can't reward myself because I didn't earn it yet. I have not earned it as of yet, right? And so I liken everything to like a weight loss journey. Just for me, it makes a lot of sense. And I think there's a lot of parallels and analogies that you can pull from, trying to lose weight or whatever specific goal that it is that you want to do. So yeah, you gotta be present. You gotta be in the moment. Like, I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. Can't control anything that happened previously. So let's just be here and celebrate it.
Be
drink
present.
my water and
mind your business.
Mind my business. Have a great conversation with you too.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're gonna grow.
Yeah.
When I say the word vision, what comes to mind?
Focus, choices, discipline, follow through.
Mm-hmm. What about growth?
Change, flexibility.
Entrepreneur.
Fearless, willing,
Legacy.
strong. Legacy, life. Legacy is life.
Last one. Love.
It's the world. It's the single most important thing in this world. If we love ourselves and then we love others the way we love ourselves, there's nothing that we can't accomplish.
I want to pry in your business a little bit.
Get in it.
All right. So you just came out of a divorce.
Yeah.
You just said the word love and it's everything.
It is.
Not to know what happened or anything like that.
Sure.
But when you're in that moment, because clearly it did not work out.
No.
Which means that there was some dissension or divisiveness with love in the middle of that, right?
Sure.
How do you
Pivot.
No, not pivot, but like how do you absorb or feel or emit love when you're in a loveless situation?
Oh, it wasn't loveless. There's a difference between love and choice.
Okay.
You can love somebody and choose not to be with them.
Right.
I choose at this point in my life, this is not the best thing for me. At this point in my life, we're going in 2 separate directions. At this point in my life, where I'm going, you don't want to go, and I love you enough
to let
you go, right? So it wasn't loveless at all.
And I think a lot of people hear divorce and think, oh, well, y'all ain't, you fell out of love or whatever. So I appreciate the clear distinction between the two, because that's facts. I mean, we're
I love my ex-wife. I just don't choose her.
Yeah.
We were different. Yeah.
Who's that song? I choose you. Not no more.
Yeah. I just, that path, I chose a different path.
Do you think you chose yourself?
Of course I did. Everything good that happens in your life comes from you choosing yourself. You cannot do for someone else what you won't do for yourself.
Wow.
Ooh.
Not your children.
I'm full of wisdom.
No, not your children, not your job, not your spouse, because you set the tone of how somebody else loves you.
That's right.
How can you ask somebody else to love you in a way that you don't love you? And I had to learn that.
Bars.
It's the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
People will give you back to you. That's it. Me like you, weight loss journey. In the middle of divorce, started working out, riding a bike 6 miles a day. It was a stress mechanism, right? It was like we couldn't get COVID. We can't go anywhere. Gyms were closed. I bought myself a bicycle and got addicted to it. Started losing weight, started feeling better. The clarity started coming about the business. The better you feel about you, the more you love you, the better you take care of you, the better you show up everywhere.
Yep.
That's the way it is.
It's facts.
Yeah.
And that's why I liken everything to working out.
Yep.
Not saying it's the end all be all, but man, there is something to it. When your body is moving and you're putting the right fuel in your body,
yes,
you're able to do things a little bit differently.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
think different.
You think different.
You invest different.
Yeah,
you feel different.
100%.
Yeah, it's true.
And that's why I always go into, go back to the weight loss thing. Like that was the thing for me when I looked up at the end of 2021. Clearly, I knew, I wasn't who I was supposed to be. That was a fact. Even though we do this show, we talk to fantastic people. I fell off. It is what it is, right?
Sure.
But I'm going to take accountability for that. And now I'm going to be intentional. In the first quarter of 2022, that's all I'm focused on. I'm focused on loving me, being a better me.
Yeah.
And I can't be for my wife, my 2 daughters.
Yep.
I can't be the best king that they need from me if I'm not taking care of myself.
Yeah, that's true.
So if we reached the portion of the show where, had to land the plane, if you will.
I don't want to.
You don't want to?
No, but we do have to.
Yeah, we do have
to. No, we vibing for real.
Respect,
yeah,
right?
it's a vibe. We can vibe as long as y'all want to.
So we asked this of every guest on the show, right?
Sure.
So it's a round table just like this, a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
There are 5 other seats, and so six seats. You're one of them. You get 5 other people, right?
Yeah.
Who are the 5 other people you want at your table? They can be dead or alive. The only stipulation is that you can't have whatever religious entity you believe in.
God. I don't say that because she got the cross right there.
God is everywhere. We ain't got to invite God to no table. God is within us. He here all the time.
Facts.
So we don't need a seat. He here.
I got you.
All right. Jay-Z.
Good.
Everybody said he couldn't. He did.
Hove.
That's right. 5 people.
There's one.
LeBron James.
Okay.
The king.
The king. I'm thinking, y'all, this is tough. I got so many influences.
It's 2.
Yeah. Oprah Winfrey.
It's a good one.
Nelson Mandela.
It's a good one.
One more.
Barack Obama.
Quality
It's
table.
a real good table.
Quality table.
It's a real good table.
What are y'all going to talk about?
We're going to talk about hurdles. We're going to talk about growth. We're going to talk about adversity. We're going to talk about trying to suppression when one tries to be suppressed and how strength doesn't allow you to be suppressed. We're going to talk about spirituality, not religion, spirituality.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about strength. We're going to talk about success. We're going to talk about family. We're going to talk about fear. Because I would imagine all of them had to deal with an immense amount of fear,
Right. Especially Nelson.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Or President Obama.
President Obama.
Yeah.
Well, we say fear, but especially Barack Obama, Nelson Mandela, Jay-Z, LeBron, to a certain extent, but Barack Obama, Nelson Mandela, like, I think there's a part of me that believes, like, when those two decided that they were going to set out on the tracks that they actually took, I think fear went out the window. Like, I think the day that Barack decided, all right, I'm going to run for president of the United States, I think whatever preconceived notion or fears or whatever insecurity, at a certain point, that went out the window.
You just get a new set.
Really?
Yeah, because then it becomes,
Of
am I
course.
doing a good job? Am I doing the right thing?
Yes.
Like
It never goes out of the window.
Goes out of the way.
I don't know. I feel like,
I guarantee
especially
you.
Nelson Mandela, because he was locked up forever. Like, I think
Was
when
it 40?
Yeah, and
When
then
he-
there's a
when
fear
he-
that his family is safe.
Right.
There's a fear if I'll ever get out to see them again.
Okay, let me rephrase that. The original, like you said, the original set of fears, like, okay, Barack Obama, like, the day he decided, I'm running for president.
Sure.
So whatever fears he might have had before he got to that decision, that went out the window. Now, yes, I would agree. Like, okay, am I doing a good job, like the normal stuff? But I'm thinking about, like, because he strikes me as a person who's very conscious of the moment.
Sure.
The day he said to himself internally, I'm running for president of the United States, and I'm sure Barack thought to himself, I'm going to be president of the United States.
Sure.
Whatever the fear of that, like, he got to a place to where, like, I'm not worried about it anymore. I'm burning the boats. This is what I'm doing.
There could be truth to that, right?
Mhm.
I think that in anyone in that position, and I don't want to just focus on him, but you accept it and then you move beyond it, right?
Yeah.
Like, you absorb it. It is what it is. You don't, but then it graduates to other fears, right? Am I doing the
It
right thing for the
does.
American people?
Yeah.
Should I have done this? Should I not have
What
done
will
this?
happen if
Yeah.
I make this decision?
Right. Like, how many families are going to be impacted?
Impacted, yes.
It's
Yeah.
different. Like they say, it's levels to this.
Fear moves.
Yeah, 100%.
It does.
It doesn't go away, but all of the people that you talked about are great representations of overcoming those type of fears. And I think they can drop massive, massive nuggets or gyms or whatever, and tell you that same thing. It doesn't matter how high you've reached in your career or how, you know, if you're at the beginning, like you got to face it. That's always going to be the common denominator.
And I think, too, that they will tell you that it gets scary. If fear is not present, faith does not grow.
Stop with the bars. That's it. I love it.
Maybe I've just played one big mental trick on myself. Maybe that's what it is. Because, I mean, you know, once I decide to do something, I'm going. Like, everything else goes to the wayside. Like, I don't care about fear this or repercussion that. Like, I'm very much a burn the both person. Like, okay, this is what we're doing. We're going. Everything else, hey, man, whatever. This is what I'm trying to get done. You helping me or hurting me or get out the way.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing.
It's not.
It's not a bad thing. And you've learned to overcome whatever fears that you may have originally had, right? Okay. But when you reach your mountaintop, there'll be a new set of fears.
That's it.
Like how do I stay up here?
How do I stay up here?
What
happens if I fall?
Right. Can I replicate or duplicate?
Yeah.
You know,
it's scary up here. Who's up here with me? Yeah.
Can I scale this?
Yeah.
Because at some point, you can't do it all by yourself. So now I got to trust.
Who do I trust?
Right. I got to trust Tiff. I got to trust Cuff. I got to bring them on. Can they do what I'm doing? Like, it's just, it's levels to this.
It is.
My wife told me that the other day. She was like, hey, she's like, the stuff I'm working on. She's like, you're going to, I see it about to happen. Like, you're about to knock this out the park. She said, well, who else can you trust? And my thing is, I ain't worried about that right now. Because the people I'm working with on this stuff now, like I've got a certain level of trust with them, and so I'm just really to the point. This is a look into my mind.
Sure.
Like, I don't fear anything. Like in regards to like I've been through some ups and downs over the past 3 or 4 years or whatnot. Like I've lost people very very close to me. So, and I've also learned the sun gonna come up the next day. So
it will.
Some of the normal set of fears people might think about, like I've kind of lost two of the close people in my life. So what else could possibly happen? And there's a part of me that has that type of viewpoint. So like when I'm trying to get something accomplished, like it's go time, period. Yeah. And everything else, unfortunately, everything else be damned. Like I'm not afraid. Like I've been in a room and had conversations with people who know way more about the subject than I do, but I'm not afraid. Like, okay, what's the mission? What's the goal? What are we trying to accomplish? I might not be able to, knock out this gigantic portion of the task, but I can take something, own it, and I'm going to do it to the best of my ability.
Sure, yeah. That's
and
love.
That's growth.
And respect as well.
So if you were a book,
yeah,
what would be the title of your book?
Ooh. Diversity. Yeah. Diversity.
Expand on that just a little bit.
Yeah, of course. So I am like a woman. I'm a lesbian. I'm Black. I'm professional. Like I'm like the only Black director at my job.
You're a unicorn.
I'm a unicorn. A unicorn would be another good name. I like that. Unicorn. But everything that's diverse, I am. I come from parents that were married, divorced, remarried. You name it. Everything about me is different. It's just so vast. It's so wide. I'm an image of anything is possible.
I'm going to challenge you. I've got 2 difficult questions
for you.
Give them
to me.
First question.
Yeah.
What is one flaw that you have that you can't what is one flaw that you have that you need to fix?
Yeah, I still have a challenge with choosing myself first.
Really?
Yes. That's a learned behavior. You meet people in your life, you love them. It's very easy for you to put their needs ahead of yours. You have a job, it is going well. You want to be best. You're there all the time. You have a business that you work on at night. You are not choosing rest or choosing yourself. You're choosing the business. So choosing yourself is not just about other people. It's about rest. It's about what you eat. It's about how you show up. It's about what do I need to do today before I do anything for anyone else. So I'm still getting better at choosing myself, and I lose my way sometimes.
That's good.
Choosing myself first, I should say.
All right. Well, before we ask the final question,
Sure.
Again, just want to say big ups to you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much
I
for
appreciate you,
your
Kinks,
energy.
for having me. Yeah.
Thank you for your honesty. Thank you for your authenticity.
Yeah.
Thank you for prolific,
Yeah.
beautiful timepieces. We will be supporting.
And I owe you one.
I appreciate
You
it.
got to let me know which one you want now.
We're gonna make that happen for sure, for sure. Visionaries, y'all make sure y'all support this sister. She's absolutely
Appreciate
crushing it right now.
Thank you.
All right, so last question
Mhm.
of the podcast. In case you didn't know,
Yeah.
we do have a magical time machine here in the lab.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
We're gonna go back 5 years.
Yep.
What advice would you be giving yourself from 5 years ago?
You don't need to be validated by anyone else.
That's a good one. I don't think we've.
You're the first person
we
I
heard
think
that
that said that.
Yeah, in
We're
that
knocking on the
manner.
door of 150 episodes. I believe you're the first person that said that. No, it's a good thing.
No, that is.
That's what I would tell myself. I used to look for validation in people from cars, houses, clothes, people. You know, if someone is proud of me, if someone looks at my life and they're proud of me, you know, I've made it. You know, here in Dallas, the cars get bigger, the houses get bigger. I was validated I had a sense of accomplishment by what I could buy, who was watching, who saw all that stuff as success.
Were you proud of yourself though?
Nope. I was miserable.
Wow.
Because it's hard to keep up with that.
Yeah, it probably eats at you on the inside because you've never satisfied yourself.
Again,
You know
choosing
what I mean?
myself. Didn't I tell you that's the thing I'm working on?
I feel that.
That's
now.
transparency.
I feel that.
Yeah.
All right, so forgive us. We're gonna make you a little bit older.
Yeah.
All right. So
Yeah.
almost knocking on the door of 48.
Yes.
What advice would the older version of yourself, if they could look back and talk to you today? Okay, so it's 2027.
Yeah.
What advice is that person telling you today?
Keep going. There's nothing that you can encounter that you can't overcome.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Mo, you did it again, man. Hey,
Yes,
shout out to Clarence. Good, appreciate the
C-Square.
C-Square, CC.
Yeah.
Appreciate you getting us hooked up. It's been an absolute pleasure.
My honor.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes.
Thank you. To Visionaries, thank you so much for tuning in on another great episode of the TheVisionLab podcast. Remember, each one of our guests are dropping nuggets of wisdom here on the Trail of Life. Ultimately, my friends, it's up to you to pick them up.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ryan Mosley. He is Ryan Cuffey. Thank you again to our guest, Tiffany Weaver.
Yes.
Owner, creator, designer, all the above of the Prolific Watch Company. And we will see you guys next week on another great episode of the Vision Lab podcast.
Blessings.